Guys, it's another windy day. Check out my stunning view. Check out across there, see all the sheep following the tractor. How cool is that? It's bloody windy! It is actually, bloody hell, it is windy! Windier than what I expected. So, what are we doing today? You can hear me? I'll tell you what, let's go inside. Bloody hell, that's windy. As I was saying, today, I didn't realise it was going to be this windy, but today I'm going to head up to a place called Pule Hill, which is quite interesting. So, we set off and we'll head up onto Pule Hill. I'll have a bit of a chat up there. I just thought I'd stop and show you the sheep. Thought it was quite cool. I wonder if the tractor's full of food. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, let's crack on. So, just in front of me, just there, that is Pule Hill. That's where we're going to climb to the top of. If you can just look on the top, I don't know if you can see it on the picture, but there's a little nipple sticking up, and that, well, I say a little nipple, you know what I mean, but that's kind of like a little stone at the top. It's pretty cool up there. There's an idiot passing me. People do like to speed down here. See, why is the point in speeding up to slow down at a junction? What a bellend. Anyway, this isn't actually a bad place to park, to be honest. There's quite a lot of good laybys on here. So you can park in this one here, or if we drive round the bend here, if you see where that car's parked over there on the right, there's actually a couple of laybys there. So it's not actually bad if you wanted to park here overnight and just chill out. Anyway, I'm going to pull in over here, just on this one here I think. There we go, I'm going to climb to the top up there of Pule Hill. So join me as we go climbing in the wind. Right, actually feels a bit less windy here, which is quite good. So basically, I'm going to climb up there. There's quite a few interesting things up there to show you. I was up here the other day and I've never been before, so I thought, yeah, why not bring you guys back here. So it's Marsden Moor, Pule Hill. Incidentally, this bit here, just to give you a quick bit of history, this path going up here is actually the Roman road from Castleshaw, which I didn't know. I always thought it went the other way, sort of like towards Scamondon that way. But it actually comes here, sweeps around, goes through Marsden and then over to Slack, which is where the replacement fort was built when they abandoned Castleshaw fort. There you go. So it's the Roman 712 highway. Anyway, let's climb up the hill. Looks like the road collapsed a bit. But it hasn't been used for 2,000 years, so what do you expect? Right, so we're going to go up the hill, and then you get some great views as well, because across there, there's actually a couple of reservoirs as well. But it takes ages to walk to them. Anyway, let's get my gear. Right. Van's locked up. So last time I came, I actually walked up the hill up there. But this time I'm actually going to go along the path this way, and then we'll take you up through the quarry and I'll come back down the hill. But yeah, as I said, this was actually the Roman 712 road, so it used to come straight across here. So you never know, you bring a metal detector, you might find something, which incidentally mine's in my backpack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a wander, tell you a bit of history, show you a bit of the hill, show you the quarry. Quarry's actually quite cool. And then, if I get a chance, I'm going to head over that way and do a bit of metal detecting. See if we can find anything. So I'm kind of guessing actually, right, if you actually look here, see these rocks, either like this, the Roman roads used to be made out of rock, so they used to dig it all out and then lay it with rock. So I wouldn't mind betting that that is actually part of the original Roman road. As you can see where it's dug down, I reckon this is probably the path of the road there. But you can actually see it down that channel there, can't you? Where it would have crossed. So there's probably remnants there from the old Roman road. Pretty cool. Who knows? I could be wrong. Probably have, but hey, you gotta speculate, haven't you? So when I came here the other day, it was a couple of days ago, and it was really nice and sunny. The place was absolutely rammed with walkers. And the other day when I came, I didn't bring the camera. I thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave the camera at home, come here, just enjoy a day to myself. But then I thought, if I'm going to come back and do a vlog here, I'll do it during the week when everybody's at work. Well, or at home, social distancing. So there is actually a caravan site there as well. So if you actually wanted to pitch a caravan, you can always camp out there and have a wander over the hills. Anyway, let's crack on. Just across there, incidentally, is Red Brook Engine House, which went to one of my earlier vlogs. You see all, when you actually stand here and have a look, you can see the scale of all the slag heaps of all the shale that they dug out of the tunnels. Standedge tunnel runs right the way under there. Amazing really, isn't it? Something else I was actually thinking of doing. The Standedge Canal tunnel, as you know, runs under the hill. But back in the days when they had horse-drawn barges, obviously the barges couldn't, the horses couldn't go through the tunnel. In fact, they actually proposed making a footpath through the tunnel for the horses, but it was going to be too costly. So instead, children were employed, as they did back in them days, and it was their job to walk the horses over the hill from Diggle to Marsden. And they had to get the horses there before the barge got through the tunnel. So they had to walk the horses over what's now Boat Lane, it's called. And they used to walk them over the moor in all weather, all conditions. And I think it took about 2 hours to get the barges through, to walk the barges through the tunnel. So the kids had to walk the horses all the way over to Diggle, all the way over to Marsden, across them moors, before the barges got back through the tunnel. Mad, isn't it? I wonder how many horses bolted and legged it and left the kids stranded on the moors. And I think if they got there after the barge, they didn't get paid. Mad, isn't it? First thing you come to, so you got the remains, so you got Red Brook Engine House over there. There's the remains of another engine house. Next to it, you've got one of the tunnels. That's the vent pipe for the tunnel, for the railway tunnel. See how it's steaming? Always smoking, that one. That one never seems to smoke, but that one always does. So whether that one over there is blocked up or not, I don't know. But that is pretty cool. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about a 500-foot drop down to the railway. So For God's sake, don't climb on top of it. I did actually debate bringing my drone, but it's just too windy, isn't it? So, if you look there, that's filled with water, but you can actually see that's a shaft. Looks quite inviting like that, doesn't it? But so I don't know how far down that's blocked up, but if that's filled with water, it must have been sealed off at some point. So you can see from the actual wall that it was actually quite a solid structure, wasn't it? So I think this had a steam powered winch kind of thing. Traction. It's like a steam powered engine. There's actually a museum over in Lancashire that actually has a model of one. It's been quite interesting to go and have a look at someday. But yeah, obviously this one's quite derelict, isn't it? But Redbrook across there is still intact. Now you can actually get in the Redbrook one. I didn't know this at the time when I went there. There's a padlock on the gate, but there is actually a way to open it if you wanted to. Anyway, so we're going to head up to the quarry up there. This is pretty cool. Like I said, I was going to bring the drone, but it's too windy. It's always windy on the moors. Well, I have no idea what this was used for. Looks like somebody's been chilling out in here, doesn't it? I'm guessing it might have been some kind of quarryman's house. As you can see the chimney smoking away. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's actually a good place to take shelter if it's really bad weather, this. If anybody knows what it was actually used for, let me know. Look at that. Now then. Oh, it's knackering cloud up there. Let me show you something. So, let's just get down here where it's a bit sheltered. If you actually look here, this beautiful structure, this used to house the winch. So if you actually look, there's a cutout there, there's another one there, and I'm guessing something must have been anchored in there. But if you actually look here at these iron workings, that's where the roller would have sat. So I think what it was what's called a barrel roller, a barrel winch. I'll drop you a picture and show you one from a slate quarry in Wales. So basically it had a big massive barrel there with the steel cable on it, winching round, and then there would have been an engine somewhere that powered it, and that would have brought the trolley carts up and down the mountain, hill, whatever you want to call it. But look at the size of the big stanchions that it used to sit on. Gives you a scale. Look at the how they prop the wall up there, bricking it up with stone. So this was a working quarry up until like 1930. So that was the slipway. So the big winch there, winched them all up the slipway up here. And then all the way down as well, where they've actually been loaded onto the carts and taken away. So this is actually what's called a gritstone quarry, which is basically all this good solid Yorkshire stone. It was called gritstone because apparently it was ideal for grinding wheels, you know, for grinding flour and stuff like that. But a lot of the local buildings are made of it. So all your stone roof tiles and quarry stone houses. If you live in a local house, you'll probably recognise some of the stone here. So you can actually see what's left of the big iron pins, which would have, I think they would have been bolts actually originally, which would have bolted the framework in. And in there you can see, in fact you can see it there, can't you, where it comes through. So I imagine the engine probably was on that side. Yeah, so if you look here, let's hope these rocks don't fall. They've been there for a few years, so fingers crossed. And then you can see there, the shaft would have sat on there and been bolted down. But yeah, big solid iron piece of industry. Amazing, isn't it? So this would have had to have been built strong for the amount of power it would have been producing. I mean, it'd been pulling tons and tons up and down there, wouldn't it? You see like stud holes there. In fact, if we look underneath there, you can just see the bolts there, what's left of them. So that would have gone all the way through up to that there, so that would have been bolted all the way down. That's massive, that, isn't it? And again through the top all the way up. They knew what they were doing, them boys, didn't they? Trial and error over years. Yeah. So I think it was running. There's not actually a lot you can find out about it, but I think it was running from sometime around the 1830s to about 1930, so it was quite a long working quarry really. Looking at, I can only imagine there must have been something pinned in there. That's what you'd imagine, isn't it? Can't see any signs of anything, but maybe some anchor points for the machine. I bet if the barrel was there, it would probably anchored across there, wouldn't it, with big steel pins or something. Let's have a look at the other one, see if we can see anything in that one. If you see the way it's carved out there, I wonder if it was like the winch rollers. Maybe it was, maybe there was a machine here and one there, and that's where the winch rollers went, because it is a big curve, that, isn't it? Something's been wearing away at it. Anyway, let's crack on. So there you go, workings of an old quarry. Unfortunately there's no machinery left here, but when the lockdown's over, I'm going to head over to Wales, because some of the slate quarries over there, they're just like, they're full of everything. Some really cool places over there. Although that said, there is some iron framework there. But again, it just shows you how big the bolts were, doesn't it? So there must have been something here as well. Bet there's something buried under that. Anyway, beautiful. Another piece of Victorian engineering. So, across here, something quite interesting to show you. Now then, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there's a thing called the Stanza Trail, the Stanza Poetry Trail, which starts here, and it basically runs from here to Ilkley, which is 45 mile away, and carved into the stonework are poems, all for the elements. So this one is snow. So let's have a look. So basically, you got all the carving here of the poem Snow. This was carved in 2012. So yeah, this is the Stanza Poetry Trail. This is where it starts. So if you're feeling ambitious when you come up here, you can do a 45 mile walk, which I reckon takes 3 days, and you can find all the different poems. So there's snow, rain, I think puddles, dew, there's about 6 or 7, I can't remember what the other ones are, but I'll drop you a link anyway. And it starts here, it's split into 3 stages. So the first stage is about 14 miles, which is from here to Hebden Bridge, I think it is. And then there's one from Hebden Bridge to Bingley, that's the next stage, which is about 12 miles. And then another stage after that, which is Bingley to Ilkley, which is the final stage. I mean, if you're feeling really ambitious, you can do the full 45 miles in one day if you're full of gusto. Probably take me about 3 weeks. But yeah, the Stanza Poetry Trail. Check it out. Anyway, see, I told you, interesting stuff up here. It's not just a quarry. Actually, I lied to you. It's not 45 miles to Ilkley. It's 45 and a quarter. So this is what's called Poetry Corner. So I think when they built the Stanza Trail, they built this as well. And yeah, Stanza Stones. Stanza Stones Poetry Trail. So yeah, when they built the Stanza Stones, they built this as well, so you could sit down and read poetry if you wanted to, or just sit down and enjoy the view. It's very harsh up here, isn't it? It's mad to think that they reckon 5,000 years ago this was all forest. All the moors used to be full of pine trees and oak trees, and then about 5,000 years ago they must have, whatever, cavemen chopped them down or whatever, and it all started becoming peat. But this place, even though it's got loads of history, hasn't been really looked after. It's been quite badly managed. The quarry did a lot of damage, and then they just, I don't know, they don't seem to care about it. But also at the bottom of the hill, apparently if you look in the shale piles you can find fossils as well. So I'm going to see if I can find a few fossils as well in a bit. So I guess these would have been the workings of some of the old quarry houses or something. Crazy, isn't it? It's pretty cool. On the wall up there you can see somebody's been getting artistic. So you've got like, I'm not so sure what that is. You've got like a Templar cross there. How do we know it's a Templar cross? Because of the little flares on the shaft. And then some kind of weird star thing, which does actually look familiar, but I can't think what it is. I've seen that somewhere else before, I don't know where. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm curious. It's actually quite nice and sheltered here now. Anyway, let's go up onto the top. Bloody hell. That was so windy up there, as you could see. So now I'm in a bit of a sheltered alcove. I'll tell you, on the top of the hill up there, in Bronze Age time, it was actually a sacred site. We actually found a Bronze Age burial up there. 2 skeletons, and a couple of clay bowls with sacrificial offerings in. They were found in, like, I think it was about the 1850s they were found by some guy who was up there looking for flints, and he saw what was left of a burial mound. So they excavated it and found the skeletons and what have you. I'll drop you a picture of the bowls, not the skeletons. So yeah, that was a Bronze Age burial site up there. But like I said, the quarrying did a lot of damage up there. So who knows what's been lost up there. But yeah, and this is a Roman road. So I think in the shale down here, I think this is where you can find the shells and fossils. So I'll have a look in there in a minute. On the actual side of the cliff up there, there's actually some pretty cool caves that have been weather blown into the rock. Now I was actually going to show you them, but I'd have been blown off the side of the bloody hill. As you could see, it was freaking windy. So I'm pretty gutted really that I couldn't get onto the edge, because on the actual cliff face there is some pretty cool caves to explore. But if you get the chance and it's not too windy, have a look. If I can find a picture of them, I'll show you what I mean. It's like a hole that's been blown in by nature, but behind it there's a couple of deep caves as well. Pretty cool. But it's just too windy up there. Did not expect it to be this windy. Anyway, let's go and have a look through the fossils. See if we can find a few plant fossils and what have you. Oh, damn. Right, well, I didn't find any fossils. I had a quick look in the shale around there, but couldn't find any. So, what I'm going to do now, get my metal detector set up. I'm going to drive, so like just through the cutting over there, there's a little car park just through there. So I'm going to drive over there, park up, and then I can walk over onto the Roman 712 highway and have a bit of a hunt. And that'll be me for the day. But yeah, Pule Hill, so it's pretty cool. So it's a good place to go for a walk, bit of a stroll, out in the country. Like I said, shame I couldn't show you the side of the quarry workings where the caves are. But yeah, as you can see, it's quite a big mound, isn't it? It's a big sacred site back in Bronze Age time. Apparently they buried them up there because you could see them for miles around. As you saw with the view up there, you can just see for miles around. And there were Bronze Age settlements on top of Diggle over there, which they can't see from here. So I imagine there must have been another Bronze Age settlement somewhere closer. Who knows? Anyway, let's go do some digging. See if we can find some Roman stuff. Another interesting thing I've just remembered while I'm still up here. I don't know if this is still true or not, but back in early to mid 90s, this was actually a UFO hotspot. If you're into that kind of thing. People used to come and park on this road because it's like pitch black at night, you can see for miles. See thousands of stars, there's no light pollution. But yeah, apparently this was a UFO hotspot back in the 90s. Whether it still is, don't know. Bloody spooky at night though, but it's a good place to park up. Anyway, let's go do some digging. Right, let's go do some digging, see what we can find. So we're going to head over onto the 712 Roman Road. See now, I always say how well the Victorians did with engineering, but you got to give the Romans the credit as well, haven't you? They did some pretty astounding things, and their technology was even more primitive than ours. There's some knobhead on a quad bike, which shouldn't be on here. Now it's going to be stuck in it. What an idiot. Probably going to come across here now as well, isn't it? What an idiot. Anyway, there we go. Straight across the road, or up the road? Up the road. knob. Anyhow, yeah, they were pretty good, weren't they, the Romans? They did some pretty cool stuff. Apparently the Roman concrete has never been able to be remanufactured. So the Romans invented concrete, which is what they built half of the, you know, Colosseums and stuff like that. And then the recipe, or whatever you want to call it, was lost for over 1,000 years before we started redeveloping concrete again. But we've never actually been able to get the correct formula for Roman concrete, which apparently was even stronger than ours. There you go. Anyhow, let's head over there, if we can get over there. It should be over this way. So it actually feels a little bit less windy up here. Just thought I'd show you though, look. If you look at the natural bedrock, this is what the Romans had to deal with when they built the road. You gotta think them Roman soldiers, they were pretty multi-skilled really. They weren't just centurions and guards and soldiers, they were bloody craftsmen as well. And they came from all over Europe and all over the Roman Empire, which stretched like 3/4 of the world or something like that. It's amazing. Yeah, you gotta give them credit. Anyway, so it should be just across there, right about where that man's walking. Anyway, let's crack on. There's Pule Hill over there, on top where it was being blown about. Mad. That must be a dog gate off at sheep. Pretty cool. So just to the left of me there, that's the Roman road. And this bit I'm on now, this stone pathway, I believe is called Blind Jack's Road. Because it was built by, it was a toll road built by a guy called Blind Jack. Whether he was blind or not, I don't know. Not the kind of person you want building roads of years, is it? But yeah, so this was like one of the earlier toll roads. Not the earliest, because that was the Roman road. That should be the Roman road there. So that's where, so I'm going to set my metal detector up and see if we can find anything. Probably not, but you never know. Who knows? Anyway, hope you're finding it interesting. If you're not, you can always turn over. In fact, if you remember last time I came on the lower, I'd look under that bridge and then 3 blokes walking across. We said about the toll bridge. So that must have been from the original toll road, from Blind Jack's Road. So that bridge is probably about 200 years old at least, if not more. Which is pretty epic really. And I didn't realise when I was walking on there that that is the Roman road. So am I going to find anything? I don't know, because it is pretty overgrown. I mean, to be fair, it's got like 2,000 years worth of peat on top of it, hasn't it? So according to Google Maps, that's where I am, and that channel you can see, that's the Roman road, which is basically from that way. If you look where I'm stood, there ain't no way I can dig in this. Plus which, wherever I walk, I can feel it sink. So I'm hoping, if I keep walking in this line, might get to a bit more of a solid patch. It's not quite as boggy. Because basically whatever the Romans left here, that's just lost to time. There's no way you'll be able to dig it Not unless you had a JCB or something. And would you really want to go to that extent? So you've got to be careful where I'm walking because you can see the bogginess. Little holes everywhere. So it looks like they came straight down here. Channeled it all out all the way down to there and then it went up the side of the hill. God knows how long it took them to build this. Crazy, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to climb up on the banking up here. If I can. Without going on my arse. Right. We'll walk up this bit. See if we can find somewhere a bit more solid. But even if you look, you can see where they channelled out. And straight down there as well where they've cut out. You know, they weren't adverse to a bit of hard work, were they? They didn't mind getting their hands dirty and cutting rocks out and everything. Awesome. Right, let's crack on. No idea where this vlog's going. I don't even know where I'm going. You know what's crazy is when you think, right now I'm stood on the 712 Roman Road. 2,000 years ago there'd have been a legion of about 200 or 300 Roman centurions marching down here all the way to Slack and on to York, and then possibly, oh Jesus, possibly, no, not Jesus, he didn't walk there, he might have done, I don't know. Apparently he travelled a bit, didn't he? But then 1,000 years later you'd probably had Vikings walking down here, because they'd have people still used the Roman roads back then, didn't they? Because the Romans built roads to last, so they've been used for centuries. So when the Romans left in 400, I think it was, about 400 AD, then the Vikings came in about 700. So I reckon a couple of hundred years after the Romans gone, these roads were probably still intact. Mad. So who knows what history's here? We know Vikings were in the area because that Viking ring was found at Greenfield. So they might have walked this way from York, doing a bit of raping and pillaging as they did. Tell you what, I bet the road wasn't as tiring back then. Imagine it might have been actually, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, onwards, as they say. Right, so I've got the detector out. I've actually been detecting about half an hour walking along behind me, but I've got no chance of finding anything. When you come to this part here, so this is where, that's where the Romans carved out the quarry to bring the road through. So just across there is Castleshaw Reservoir. So as you can see from over there, bloody hell, it's windy again. As you could see from over there, it was it's quite hard to detect over there because it's that boggy and that it's covered over with too much peat. So anything that is there will probably be a couple of metres deep at least. So the only chance you've got really is probably in this part here. So I'll have a quick detect here, but I've got to be careful because I don't want the farmer spotting me with a detector. I don't know whether I'm supposed to be here or not. They're a bit funny, these farmers, aren't they? But if we find anything, I'll let you know. But yeah, so that's where the Roman road came up through here. Oh, right guys, I have found cockerel, as usual. Hey, part of the fun's in hunting, not in finding. Anyway, I'm going to head back to the van now and leave you guys here. Castleshaw. The impressive Roman cutting. Thanks for watching. Hope I haven't bored you to death this week, and I will see you guys next time. Stay safe out there. Adios.